to episode 2 of the Mobile Home Park Desktop, where I bring you news and analysis from the world of mobile home park investing. Today we're going to start by talking about deal flow. I came across this interesting webinar. It was put on by Ekaterina Stepanova. She invited Charles DeHart from Marcus and Millichap to discuss deal flow and what he saw in the market. So among other insights that Charles had to offer, he brought up this interesting stat that I thought I'd share with everyone. 800 million closed deals in March versus 160 million new listings. Now, these are not just mobile home park deals. These are across the board, all the deals that Marcus and Millichap deal with. What you would normally expect to see is you would expect to see new listings kind of outpacing closed deals if you have a sort of a normal market, because you have the deals that you've closed, but you also have quite a few deals that you probably haven't closed, or at least a certain number of deals that haven't closed. Plus you have the new listings cycling in. You would expect to see new listings maybe equaling closed deals or outpacing closed deals, but instead you see a 5x drop in new listings. And simply put, it means that there aren't as many new listings out there. So what's going on here? Are people just not selling real estate right now? More likely, and this is what Charles mentioned, the brokers are just sitting on their listings right now. They're waiting to see how the market plays out, and they're not in any rush to put any listings out right now. Of course, with every crisis, there is an opportunity, and even though there are fewer listings out there right now, what Charles mentioned the opportunity might be is this. There are fewer listings, so you can see on the left, there are fewer listings that are going on. What does that mean? That means that brokers in general should have more free time. That brokers in general should be able to pay more attention to the specific type of deal that you're looking for. So particularly, I guess, if you're new to the industry and you have a very specific or niche type of mobile home park, or maybe it's an area, maybe it's the type of infrastructure that it has, now may be a good time to bring it up and discuss it with them. Because as Charles pointed out, brokers in general have more free time. All right, let's turn to some more unscientific analysis to see if we can figure out what's going on here with deal flow going forward in the mobile home park industry and I guess in general in real estate. And now let's turn to sales report. And this is a sales report put out by Northmarq. Northmarq is another big broker that deals in mobile home parks. If you are not on their mailing list, go ahead and contact them and you can sign up, and you'll also be receiving these sales reports. And I just want to show you their February sales report versus their March sales report. So let's go ahead, let's hide the sidebar and shrink that a little bit. Such high production value here at the Mobile Home Park Desktop, huh? Okay, so let's take a look here. So you can see here in February, there was a total sales volume, number of sales, 41 properties, 4,625 units or lots or spaces in that property. If you want to figure out the average size of those properties and just take this 4,625 divided by 41, you get that answer. Average unit price, 38,646. But here's the number. You can see the total sales volume, 127,884,000 in terms of total sales volume. And if you scroll through the report, this is for February, you can see how it's broken down by the different regions. So they have the Southwest, the West, the Midwest, the Northwest, the Southeast, Northeast. And I mean, I love doing this. Isn't this fun? Just look at the difference in prices. So you have like 55,000 per average unit in the Southwest, and then you have 7,923 in the West. This is actually very unusual, right? Because you would expect California, especially Washington, Oregon, to be the most, some of the most highest priced mobile home parks. And then you go over to the Midwest and you see 17,456. So again, these are wide metrics. Each deal has its own story, but it can kind of give you point you in a direction and help you sort of formulate what your thesis or what type of mobile home park deals you might want to be going for Obviously, if you're looking for a little bit more cheaper value add stuff, you'd be looking in the Midwest as opposed to, say, the Southeast or in California for sure. And let's take a look. So let's look here. So we want to talk about sales volume and what's going on with deals. So here you could see the month of February, and let's just put on top of that the month of March. And you can compare. So look at that. So you go from 127 million in total sales volume to 50 million in total sales volume, which sort of fits with what Charles was saying, right? This is similar. It fits the same sentiment that Charles was talking about when it comes to what Marcus and Millichap's deal flow was looking like. So again, you can take a look here at this report. You can see all the different regions. Let's see here, 48,000 here in the Southwest, 66,000 per site in the West. Now this is probably more like what you would expect out in the West. 62,000 in the Southeast per unit, 4,000 in the Midwest. Now I know the Midwest is cheaper, but 4,000. Don't be expecting to buy parks at 4,000 per unit. Unless you're getting some extremely heavy value add stuff. 29,000 in the Northeast and 45,000 in the Northwest. Again, this is all unscientific. I didn't actually talk to any of the brokers from Northmarq to kind of ask what their sentiment is. But I just look at this to kind of get a sense for where the market is. If you are on the sidelines right now and you're not thinking about buying mobile home parks, or if you're actively looking and you're having a hard time finding deals, I mean, this probably explains what's going on. There's just fewer deals out there at this moment as people are sort of trying to reprice and figure out what the correct pricing is, should be with all the stuff that's going on in the world. Now in episode 1, and speaking of pricing, in episode 1, I did go over some ideals and theories in terms of how you should be pricing right now. We talked about the kind of the risk premium that might be applied to mobile home parks with all the uncertainty. Because at the end of the day, whenever you invest in anything, all you're doing is you're paying today a dollar amount for future cash flow. And the more certain those future cash flows are going to be, the more guaranteed those future cash flows are going to be, the less risk those future cash flows are, then probably the more you're going to have to pay for them. But at a time like this, when we just have such high unemployment and people worried about what's going on with the economy, it's harder to predict what those future cash flows might look like. And you could go back and look at that last episode. We talk a little bit about what some of the pros and cons of investing in a mobile home park industry are, particularly when there's recession or when there's economic uncertainty. So you can go ahead and look at that if you're interested. Some other news that I found interesting, and one of the things I like about doing the mobile home park desktop is it just forces me to kind of scour the internet looking for news related to mobile home park investing, and I always end up learning a bunch of new stuff myself. And one thing I learned this week, because they just released their earnings report. Most of us are familiar with Sun Communities, ELS, and UMH, and these are the three largest publicly traded REITs, the three only publicly traded REITs that are focused on the mobile home park manufactured housing in terms of their investment class. But there's a fourth publicly traded investment firm that's focused on mobile home park investing, and that is MHPC. MHPC, is that right? They're not listed on the traditional stock markets in New York Stock Exchange. They're listed as a over-the-counter stock, OTC stock, also known as a pink slip or pink sheet stock. I guess colloquially, people might refer to these as penny stocks. But I think they have a portfolio of about 1,200 properties right now. I think they're mostly focused, from what I looked at, in North Carolina. As you can see, their current share price, they're trading for $1 a share. And if you just Google MHPC 10K, then you can see their annual 10K report. And I know, just as someone interested in the industry, I always like seeing other data points from other companies, seeing what other companies are doing. And so you could take a look, and you could see. So this is a list of all the properties that they own. As you can see, mostly in North Carolina. They've been around since 2016. This is absolutely not a recommendation that you go out and buy their stock, anything like that. Frankly, I don't know anything about them other than what I just came across and what I would glean from reading over the report. But I did think it's funny. If you ever wanted to tell people that you own 1,200 units, if you have a dollar handy, you can go ahead and buy one single share of MHPC, and walk around and tell everyone that you now own over 1,200 units. You are in the mobile home park game. I'm not sure if it's just a dollar, or whether you have to spend $10, or how it goes, whether you'd even want to buy the stock, or how easy it is to purchase it, since it's not listed on any major stock exchange. But I just think it's funny. I think I'm gonna go out and buy it and tell everyone that my portfolio just increased by 1,200 units. All right. Another article I found interesting to me, because I am a systems and automation nut. I love creating systems. I love automating everything, and I can definitely feel the pain that this mobile home park operator is going through. Apparently what happened is, because they had all their eviction notices set up on automatically, so that if tenant didn't pay, these eviction notices would automatically get sent out. Something that most owners aspire to be automated and systemized in that way. But of course, with coronavirus and all the eviction moratoriums and all this other stuff, it's not something that they had meant to have sent out. But since the systems were already set up, they just automatically got generated. So anyways, this serves as a good reminder for people out there, people who are like me, who like to set up systems, who like to automate everything. Make sure you adjust those systems and automations when you have unique situations such as this, such as what's going on in the world happen. Yeah, you certainly don't want to upset all your residents, and you certainly don't want this type of bad publicity going out and kind of accusing you of being that heartless mobile home park owner that the media loves to harp on. And as always, each week we'll take a look at what the NMHC, the National Multifamily Housing Council, they're tracking their rent payments across, I believe it's 16 million apartment units. And so this is a good proxy in terms of how much people are paying rents. And this is a good thing for you to use as a baseline and compare it to how you're doing. Are your collections better than what is happening in the apartment world, at least with what NMHC is putting out? Are they worse? As you can see, I think from last week, we had seen a 16% drop off in collections. It seems like that collections is still probably around 16%. So it's not like they've made it up on a year-over-year basis. Obviously, the overall in collections number has improved, because I think last week was around 69%, and now they've collected about 84% from April 2020. But from a year-over-year basis, in terms of what last April looked like, and even what last month looked like, it's still trailing what was going on the last couple months. This is not surprising, obviously, with everything going on and the huge unemployment numbers out there. The good news is, from the anecdotal evidence I've seen and from the people I've talked to within the mobile home park industry, it does seem like park owners are doing a bit better than this. Of course, it's only April, and May is coming up. That's going to be an interesting month. The stimulus checks that I'm hearing stories of people starting to receive their stimulus check. In fact, one major operator was telling me that recently they had gotten a call from someone who was looking to purchase a mobile home. So someone getting that $1,200 stimulus check and then immediately looking to go out and purchase a mobile home. That fits right in line with what a lot of people within the space are hoping will happen. It fits in line with the entire thesis that mobile home parks represent a great affordable option for a lot of people. You can see here, this is like a perfect example of someone getting a stimulus check and going out and being able to move into a mobile home park community where a lot of other avenues of home ownership are probably cut off to them. So, as you can see, the rent collections trailing from last year, overall 84%. That's what's going on in the apartment world. And as bad as that is, thank God you are not a mall operator, because let me bring you up something. And if you are a mall operator and you're watching this video, my apologies. But it seems here what they're saying, where's the pull quote here? According to Marcus and Millichap, this is in an article I found online, April rent collections for malls had ranged from just 10 to 25% for mall owners, with a higher concentration of higher concentrations of non-essential tenants, and 50 to 60% for landlords with essential tenants such as grocery stores and pharmacies. So the grocery stores and pharmacies, they're paying at a much higher clip than the other types of retail. And these large retail tenants that have not been paying include Burlington stores, Petco, Animal Supplies, LVMH, Louis Vuitton, Victoria's Secrets, and Staples. It's interesting that Staples isn't paying, since they are considered essential, and actually the stores are actually open. So who knows what's going on there? But it seems like it's setting up this this battle. Here's a quote from Vince Tabone from Green Street Advisors. The retailers think they have leverage here, and they're trying to use it. I see it potentially becoming a fight and going into litigation. So the retailers here are, even if they have the means to pay, according to this article, a lot of them are opting to not pay. This here is Simon Property Group. This is probably the largest REIT that is focused on malls. And as you can see, the type of news such as the retailers not paying rent is definitely affecting their stock price. They've gone from 149 down to 56. So this is one of the REIT sectors that has definitely been hammered pretty hard. Obviously, hotels, travel, those other types of stocks and REITs related to those have also been hammered pretty hard. I thought I'd end this week's episode of the Mobile Home Park Desktop by turning to the Irish Times. You might be wondering, what does Ireland have to do with mobile home parks? But apparently there are RV parks and mobile home parks in Ireland. This is something I had heard of, but I hadn't really thought too much about. I came across this interesting article. Of course, over there, they're called caravan parks, and they're popular holiday spots. And this article was just talking about the effects of whether or not people would be traveling to their caravan parks, their RV parks over in Ireland. And I love this quote. Anne Hall, who runs Laburnum Caravan Park in Gorey Wexford, I don't even know how to say that, said she managed 115 mobile homes between the two sites, which were both empty. Obviously not good for Anne, but I just love this quote. We have two parks, and we've not a sinner in either of them. Just funny the way that she expressed that. Love that expression. And that got me thinking, what are some other interesting Irish expressions? So, of course, I turned to this website I found online, the 25 most common Irish slang words. Just scrolling through here, different expressions I thought were really fun, really interesting. And came across this one, number 73, acting the maggot. Acting in a particularly foolish manner. I thought that's a good quote to kind of end this week's episode on. Remember, when it comes to mobile home park investing, when it comes to staying safe during this unprecedented times, please don't act the maggot. All right, guys, I'll see you next time.